Hi, and welcome to MKB Life Coach podcast number 4. Grief is like a private group made up of different subgroups. Before we start talking about this, I would love anybody to get in contact with me via mkblifecoach@mail.com who would like to join me on my podcast for the next podcast, talking about how you've gone through a difficult time, being it grief, relationships, but come out the other side, on a positive side. What did you do? What made you feel so positive afterwards? So if anybody would like to send me an email, then please do so. And I'll leave all the details in the description at the end of the podcast. So as I said, grief, it's like a private group made up of lots of different subgroups. You can have, obviously, grandparent loss, partner loss, parent loss, child loss, friendship loss, close friend that has died, pet. If a pet, when you lose a pet, because they're part of the family, you're going to grieve. Also, people grieve when they lose jobs, when you're made redundant unexpectedly, and you've got to carry on with living. Every group will go through different stages at different times. No one group is any different from the other. They're all very, very valid and important. You go through anger, sadness, disbelief, remorse, regret. And that's part of grief. And you can go through each one steadily over a few months, or even all of those situations in a week, and sometimes even in a day. Your mind will just act differently to you. So I mean, anger, why have you been left by yourself? Why did we not do more together? How am I going to manage now that that person's gone, or they're not involved in my life anymore and they were important? How am I going to do it? Obviously sadness, because the loss of that person, what they meant to you, you're not going to see that person any longer. I think disbelief, that's usually when it's been a tragic accident, you weren't expecting them, or a sudden death because of an illness or something like that. That's a very difficult one, because one minute you're chatting away to that person, or you're visiting them or seeing them, and the next minute they've gone, and you weren't ready for it. Remorse, that's guilt of probably the last words you spoke to that person, especially if they weren't really happy words and pleasant words. Guilt of the lack of effort you made to go and see them. Did you not visit regularly? When they used to call you, did you not answer the phone and discuss things with them? And regret, things you always wanted to say or do with that person, but never got round to doing it. I think regret is something that I've taken on board over the last few years. Obviously I lost Lizzie 11 years ago, and now I don't regret anything ever anymore, because I always try and tell the person that I'm with, or I'm speaking to, and or being around, exactly how I feel. I contact people as much as I can. Sometimes I just need to be left by myself, but I will always tell them how I feel. Always tell a person how, if you love them, you love them. Don't ever put off telling somebody today how you are, because you really do not know if you're going to see them again. Life can change in a matter of seconds. And always remember that it's okay to be okay. Don't feel guilty when you're having a good day. I know when I first lost Liz, and people used to see me smiling and giggly, and if we were out, and I used to feel terrible, because I used to think, God, people thinking that I'm not thinking Lizzie anymore. And then after a few years, and once I learned to speak and do different things and get my positivity back, I thought, no, it doesn't matter. If I'm having a good day, I'm having a good day. It's okay to be okay. And when I'm having a bad day, it's okay, because I know what I need, and that's what you need to do. Whatever's right for you at that time, you do it. If you need to go and take some time away, and you need to be by yourself, go and do it. Don't feel guilty. If you want to giggle and laugh and have fun, go and do it. You didn't die. The person that you loved has gone, but don't waste both of your lives. It's not fair to the person that you've lost, because you're not carrying on their name or life for them. Because then you're remembering all the good times and how much they would have enjoyed doing whatever, seeing you enjoy your life. And that's the thing. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or anybody else says. You'll get the right people around you supporting you. Some people can't cope. They won't know how to speak to you. I still see people now after 11 years that will not come and speak to me, and they'll cross the road. It may be because they don't like me, I'm not sure, but no, it's people that were involved with Liz before, and they just don't know what to say to me, because that's them. And I feel so sorry for them, because I would talk to them and I can explain to them that I've learned to cope with it. I miss her dreadfully, but I've got to live my life as well. And yes, I go through anger, sadness, remorse and regret sometimes, but only I think because I know she would love to do different things, and she would have loved life to the full. Also, I go through those when I see her friends getting married, having children. The first time this happens, it's a killer. It really does get to you. But you've got to be positive for those people, because they're probably grieving as well, because they've not got them around them. The first time you have to go through Christmas, first time you have to go through a birthday, all these type of firsts are the worst. And they definitely do get slightly easier. I mean, when we get to birthdays and anniversaries now, I still struggle, but not to the same extent as I used to, because I've got to carry on living my life. And I will never feel guilty for doing that, because I didn't die that day. My beautiful daughter did, but I would never want her memory to be wasted by me being so negative. I want her memories to be positive, fun, like she was, a 20-year-old child. But again, when I lost my grandma, I always think of the positive and fun times we had. Sometimes she was a bugger, but I don't think of those. And yes, she had a good innings, because she was 92, 93, I think, when she died. But it's still sad, so it doesn't matter what age group. And with all the groups of different people dying, everybody goes through the stages at different times. You will never go through the same person, even in the same family, will not be going through the anger at the same time as you. They might be going through the remorse as you're going through the anger. So you have to be careful and be aware of what people are going through around you. And if you need to take time out, take time out. Don't feel guilty about doing that. Just do it as your mind tells you what you're doing. Your body's telling you what to do it. Do it. Do things differently, so you start getting new memories and you'll find things a lot easier. But never ever feel guilty about living your life. My biggest thing is, I say it's okay to be okay. Never feel the guilt. And remember, you will go through, it's like a roller coaster. You're going to go through all these different feelings, and it will just all take time. Think about self-care. That is so, so important, because you feel probably you're not going to get through it to begin with. I did. I didn't know how to cope. My coping mechanism was to speak to people. And this is why I've set up MKB Life Coach, because I want to be able to support and help people as much as possible. I do it individually and I do it within groups. And some people obviously don't want to speak in the groups. Some people enjoy it and it helps them. Everybody is different, and that's the way to think of things. So if there's anybody out, just need to get things off, drop me an email, mkblifecoach@mail.com. And also, if you go onto mkblifecoach.com website, you can book a free 30-minute one-to-one with me and we can have a chat. So I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. I hope it has helped some people. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I will speak to you all soon. Thank you for listening.